Please subscribe Telugu 7 Media.
Thank you all very much for coming down. It's an absolute pleasure and honor and a deep sense of pride and satisfaction to welcome you all to the launch of Sagebrook International School. The vision to start Sagebrook happened about 4 years ago. I wanted to bring some of the best global best practices and blend with Indian education. So in that context, I visited several schools around the world in the US and UK, and amongst the schools I liked the best was Whitgift. And Whitgift is a 430-year-old school. I was fascinated with the education practices, their infrastructure, their systems and processes that I thought that we should imbibe and bring to India. And I did visit many other schools as well, as I told you, but I chose Whitgift because they are we share a very similar values between Whitgift and what I believed in, and the people, the students were very happy and joyful. So that's how I chose that we should partner with somebody like Whitgift. Not to suggest that other schools are not good or great, but I felt this is the right fit for us. Whitgift was the right fit. And Whitgift also has a tradition of so many Indians over the last hundreds of years, from the Maharajas of Jaipur who donated the peacock to Whitgift, which the tradition which they carry even today. They have about 15 peacocks within the campus, and peacock is a very integral part of what they do. So we do have a connection with many great cricketers who've been born there, great sports people who studied there, I'm sorry, and also sport being very close to my heart as a sports person. Some of you may know about our Suchitra Badminton Academy, where we've trained some of the best athletes of the world like PV Sindhu, Nikat Zareen, and now currently we are training Smriti Mandana as well. And sports also brought us together as well in terms of what the ethos we shared together. And one of the things that I found that there is a need for an IB school which can be a great school, right? Not to suggest that other IB schools are not good or good enough, but if we have to benchmark against some of the best IB schools around the world, many or most Indian Ivy schools are not up there yet. And this is where I see a great opportunity for us to bridge that gap between the good to great IB schools. Of course, it's a lot of work. We've also chosen Zoe Hauser to be our first head of Sagebrook International School. She brings a vast experience. She's worked in India previously, and obviously that blend of understanding the Indian culture and ethos and values of India brings so much perspective to us. This is the campus which most of you have got a chance to go around. I'm pretty sure that this will be, amongst the top 3 primary schools in India in the next 2-3 years itself. So at least I have not seen, any. My dream was to build something which I have not seen, and I think that vision has been realized today. Still, of course, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But that's on the infrastructure side. It's not common to see these sort of facilities in primary schools. In fact, not only in India, but even around the world, it's not very common. I will leave the academic side of things for Zoe to speak about. On the structure of we have a great partner with Gift. Along with me, I have my co-founder Ishita as well. So she studied her master's in education from Harvard University, and she brings a very different and fresh perspective to what we are doing at Sagebrook. And we have a great set of advisors, global set of advisors. We have Andrew Halls, who has been the principal of the King's College, Wimbledon, which is amongst the top schools of UK, for I think about 11 or 12 years. And he's also been, I think, ranked 2 times UK Independent Schools, best principal in the UK as well. Then we have Elizabeth City. So she is the head of the doctoral program at Harvard University. She's an expert in strategy, reading, and also brings different perspectives. She's been a teacher, superintendent, and a principal as well. So she brings a different perspective in terms of what we do. And then we have Swati Popat Vats. She is the authority for early learning, early years education in the country. She heads the ECE. She is the chairman of that for many years. She brings another perspective for us in terms of actual classroom, what happens. And then we have Varudini. She's a child psychologist, adolescent, Dr. Varudini, adolescent and child psychologist based out of Hyderabad. And today there's been a lot of challenges for students in terms of behavioral or mental health issues that have gone to epic proportions. We see at our school in Suchitra as well the kind of mental health challenges that children are facing today. And we thought we should partner with somebody who could help us and train the teachers and all of us, and including the students as well, interact with the students to understand the challenges, what to say, what not to say to children. That's very, very critical. So that's another perspective that we bring in as well. So we are, I have always believed that for a school to be very successful, you need 20, 40, 50 different things that you need to excel in. So every piece we've been working on, and what all you see in the campus is by intention and it's by design. Nothing is just for the sake of having things. So, with Zoe, Ishita, we really, went into every minute detail of the campus itself. It has to be a healthy space, a safe space, and a joyful space. So that has been our thinking in terms of what we do. So I will stop here and I will let Madhu take over, and of course we'll be happy to answer any questions later on. Thank you.
SI Inspector and a Vice Chair of the HMC Professional Development Committee, Mr. Seth brings deep educational insight and a global perspective of school leadership. I now invite...
I was last in India 30 years ago and travelled all over the country. We went to Bangalore. I was telling Praveen on the way here, we went to Bangalore, we went to Delhi, we went to Cochin, we went to Calcutta. We did not come to Hyderabad, and I regret not coming to Hyderabad all those years ago, because the welcome you have offered John and me is fabulous. So thank you very much. Thank you. You may not know this, but about 10 years ago, David Attenborough, the famous naturalist and wildlife journalist, visited Whitgift School. And when he visited Whitgift, he stood and talked to all the boys. We're an all-boys school in South London. And he spoke to the boys and said, "You have an astonishing school." And I'm going to steal that quote from David Attenborough, because you have an astonishing school. And this is without any children in it. And when you get children in a school, it becomes even more astonishing. You have an amazing head, Zoe, who inspires me in the few minutes we've met with her passion, her dedication, and her knowledge. And if I'm honest, I'm slightly intimidated by that knowledge. You have a capoeira instructor sat in the front row. This is the first primary school, or indeed school, I have ever heard that has a capoeira instructor. And you have a swimming pool for primary school children. The children that are going to come here are so fortunate to be in your care and to receive that amazing education through Sagebrook. Whitgift is a very different school to this astonishing school in many ways. On the surface, you might think there isn't a connection. We are all boys. You will be co-educational. We are a secondary school. We start at age 10 and go up to 18. You start much younger and go up to age 11. We are based on how many acres, John? 45 acres. You are based on a slightly smaller plot. So there are lots of differences, but actually what makes the schools connected is much more important than what it appears to be on the surface. And what connects the two schools has been mentioned already this morning, and it's the most important thing about any school. It's values, it's culture, and it's the way we do things. And we've already talked this morning about values, and I've been following Praveen's LinkedIn posts extremely closely. I don't know if it's Praveen himself who does the LinkedIn posts, I'm going to assume it is, but what he talks about there is what is left behind once you finish school. And it's not about grades, it's not about A stars, and my knowledge of the Indian system isn't great, it's not about a 7 at higher level, it's not about those scores on a piece of paper. It's about what's inside you and in your heart and in your mind, and how you treat people with respect, how you take courage in your actions, how you're ambitious, how you belong to a community. And I know all those things are important here at Sagebrook International. So that's what connects the two schools. There are one or two other things that connect the schools. Praveen's already stolen my peacock line, so I can't talk about peacocks. But yes, cricket is another shared passion between our two countries and our two schools. I think you're a bit better than us at the moment. But we are a school, Praveen's already mentioned, that is very strong in many areas. And I love the way Praveen described the need to make 20, 30, 40, or even 50 things great about your school. That is the way we do things at Whitgift. Everything we do, and we do a huge amount of things, is of a very, very high quality. And having walked around your building this morning, I can see that will be the same here. I'm going to end with a couple of things. First of all, a quote, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what I think we will get out of this relationship and what I hope you will also get out of this relationship. The quote is from a German philosopher called George Hegel, who was alive in the 19th century, and he said this. He said, "The truth is in the whole." And what he meant by that was you only find out the truth of someone, their value, their quality, their character, their personality, when you educate the whole person. And holistic education is at our heart, and I know it's also at the heart here of everything you do at Sagebrook. So please bear that in mind as you go about your first year in education here at Sagebrook. The truth is in the whole. In terms of the relationship we already have with Sagebrook and what we will do in the future, we are extremely fortunate and blessed to have the relationship. Over time, we will build partnerships for both our colleagues in both schools, and we would very much hope that you will come and join us in South London, and that some of my colleagues will come and join you here in, I think, West Hyderabad, although my geography is not that good yet. We also hope that your students will come and join us in London, and equally the same can operate vice versa. We have an incredible range of exchanges already at Whitgift. We send children to Japan, to Taiwan, to Dubai, to Spain, to France, to Germany, to the USA. We would love to extend that program to India and to Hyderabad. And the best thing about the two schools, perhaps, is that we will both eventually, or we currently have a year 6, so 10-year-old students. And Zoe, I'm right in thinking that you will also have some 10-year-old students in due course. But they will. And why don't we do a class swap? So they could come here for a week, and you could go there for a week. The partnership is really fundamental to our existence at Whitgift. It was set up by Chris Ramsey a number of years ago, supported by John to my left. And we are really looking forward to treasuring that and furthering and deepening that relationship over the coming years. Thank you for welcoming us so warmly this morning, and we look forward to speaking to you afterwards.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much. It's a complete honor to be here with John and Toby, and with Praveen on my other side. This has sort of been a dream for all of us, and now we're actually here. So the partnership is really important to us, but what's most important is the values that Toby has shared, and beyond that, the vision that Praveen had. So he says that their vision was 4 years ago. I think we all know it was happening long before that. So it's his dream to be able to establish a school here in Hyderabad that is different from other schools. All schools have tremendous value. We are aiming for Sagebrook to be different and to be the best it can possibly be. So about a year ago, we started discussing the values. When you're forming a learning community, values, as Toby said, are really essential. So we discussed the values, and it was a lot of conversations. It didn't just happen once. And so the values that you see on our website and that we portray as a learning community, we call it RISE, with freedom and joy. RISE stands for R, for respect. That is probably the most important of the values in any school. Respect for every individual as being a unique human with gifts and strengths and some challenges, different culture, different ideas. Respect for the fact that when we understand that we're all different individuals, we collaborate and we work really well together. So respect for people's ideas, and that means every person in the community, not just children. We're talking about a learning community of children and adults. So respect is important. Inclusion, the I of RISE stands for inclusion. That means, again, that we recognize that all people are different. We include them in our community with joy, because we want them to be with us. We want the ideas to be shared. We want children to feel safe and included. When they're in a classroom and they have a great idea or they have a really important question, they will be honored so that they feel included in the conversation. The S of RISE stands for self-awareness. And self-awareness is really the key to education, because you really can't be successful as an adult until you understand who you are as a person. And our job with young children is to help them really know themselves. Again, to recognize that they're different from every other individual around them, but to begin to understand how they feel, what they think, what they're curious about, what they're interested in, what their passions are. And those passions can change as they grow older. So self-awareness also includes the fact that when you're knowledgeable of who you are, you're able to work with other people and recognize that they are different. So it leads to a lot of cooperation and collaboration when everyone has a sense of self-awareness. Definitely self-awareness includes taking care of oneself, and that's an important thing for children to understand, that they are responsible for themselves. It's also really important for the adults in the learning community to take care of themselves and not to get stressed and overworked, but to be part of that community with vibrancy. The E of RISE stands for excellence, which Praveen touched on. The idea that we can do the very best at all times. Excellence does not mean being better than somebody else. It just means doing the best that you can do as a human, striving to do better each time, whether it's a piece of writing or a difficult math problem or something that's really intriguing to you. With helping children strive to do the best they can do to contribute to everything that's happening. Along with that, also the fact, as Praveen mentioned, the building has been designed with a sense of excellence. We want this to be a really unusual, different school that children can really enjoy. So it's RISE with freedom and joy. Freedom is really important. Very often children don't have a sense of personal freedom. They feel very controlled by adults or people in their family, and certainly in some cases in schools. We want children to be free to express their ideas, to have interesting ideas and to pursue that. We want them to understand that you are free to express yourself and to be heard. On top of all of that is infused this sense of joy, which for me is really important for all of us. Learning actually is a very joyful pursuit. Sadly, many schools have taken that joy out. So we're making sure that the joy is coming back and that children have a great time when they come to school, and that adults have a great time when they're in the school building, and that it's clear that we are working together as a joyful community. So I think it was mentioned a lot of decades of experience. I don't like that thought. But in those decades of experience, I had been a progressive educator since I started working. Now that came about because I actually went to a very traditional school, and it was incredibly boring, and I became very naughty and very rebellious because I knew that what was happening in the classrooms was of no use to me at all. I was copying, I was listening to a teacher speak, I was taking down the notes and being told I hadn't written them the right way. I was memorizing things and then spitting them out on an exam. And I knew in my heart that this wasn't learning. So when I found the school in New York, the City and Country School, which is the very first progressive school, over 100 years old, I realized here was what learning was. And progressive educators believe that we need to focus on the child, not the teacher. We need to have wonderful teachers and well-trained teachers, but we need the children to be the center of learning. In a lot of there are two things that children come to very naturally when they're very young. They always have curiosity, and they know how to play, because that is the business of a young child, is to play. Sadly, many children have walked into schools and those two things have been told they don't belong here. No play and no curiosity. We believe the opposite, that they need to use their curiosity, explore their curiosity, and they need to be able to play, because we do learn so much through playing. Young children, definitely, but all the way through the ages too. And that doesn't mean playing sports and games. It means just playing with materials, experimenting. We also believe very strongly that children should be able to drive the curriculum as much as possible through their questions, their curiosity, their wondering. Wondering is really important because that's when you begin to think of what might be, what could be. So in a school like this, they have the freedom to do that, to ask questions. When children have really important questions, they will explore to find the answers. Or even better, they'll discover there is not an answer, but it just leads to many, many more questions. That's true curiosity. And that will be happening here at Sagebrook. So with my philosophy, Praveen found me because he needed he wanted an IB school. And IB essentially takes the progressive philosophy and describes it and makes it in a way for people to understand and to be able to implement in schools all over the world. So IB really is a progressive philosophy, and it allows for children to take ownership, have important voice, and to feel fully engaged in their learning process. And then there are two things that IB stresses a lot. One of those is multilingualism. Here in India, that's a gift. Most children are multilingual as soon as they're in their families. That's not true in other parts of the world. So this is a very special gift that children have in India. We encourage that sense of multilingualism, not to put it to one side, but to celebrate it and to use it. Our amazing library will be filled with incredible books that will entice children to be really joyful readers. They'll be able to read in Telugu, and they'll be able to read in Hindi, and they'll be able to read in Spanish as well. So we're developing that whole sense of multilingualism from a culture that is already multilingual. And the other thing that the IB focuses on is the global view. Now, that doesn't mean that you teach children when they're 4 years old about a country on the other side of the world. That is not relevant to them. What you do is help them understand their own culture first, to understand, for example, in India, the diversity and the deep cultural roots that exist in this country. Many people who've never been to India think that everybody in India eats Punjabi food all the time, that they all sound the same, look the same, and have the same festivals and the same understanding. When you live here, you realize how diverse the country is and how incredibly rich it is. So first, we help children appreciate their own culture around them, in Hyderabad itself, looking beyond to the rest of India. Then they're in a position to understand cultures in other countries and to begin to have that global outlook. So having a global outlook does not mean rejecting the beauty of your own culture, which is really important. So as we move forward into developing the learning community, we're excited, very excited. As Toby mentioned, it's a great school, but there are no children's voices yet. Very soon there will be children occupying all of these spaces. And we'll see a truly vibrant learning community develop right here. And many people will want to come and join Sagebrook to experience that for their children or for themselves. So thank you.
Very much. Firstly, it is a real privilege to be here and to see the school at the cusp of opening. And Praveen and your team, thank you for having Toby and me here. I have been very lucky to have worked in different countries in Europe as an English teacher. And one thing is very clear is that British education is a very powerful tool and an incredible export that we have, and it is on the rise globally. And it is also very clear that it is one of the gold standards in education systems in the world. But what does that mean in practice and in a partnership? Well, it's all about the people in this game, and if you get the right people, then special things can happen. There are many British and international schools that open in partnership with investors and operators, and many of them won't work, and it's because they haven't got the right people together. And I truly believe
that Whitgift and Sagebrook International have those people. And having worked with Praveen, Ishita, Sunita, Ramya, and Swarupa and Zoe, there's an incredible international mindset there, and an openness to listen, to hear each other, through the good times and the challenging times when you do a project like this. And I also think that Whitgift reflects that. It's a truly international school with a diverse body of students and staff from all walks of life and cultures, and that really feeds into that relationship. And just finally, to echo what Zoe was saying about the RISE values, in the last 2 years at Whitgift, we have had a mantra, a philosophy that has been guiding us, and that is as follows: every moment and every human matters. And I think that is also one of the guiding principles in this relationship. So thank you very much, and I really look forward to seeing this relationship and this partnership develop in the coming years. Thank you.
We extend a heartfelt thanks to all our esteemed guests, valued members, and the members of the press for gracing us with your presence and making today's inauguration truly memorable. We would like to express our